plenty fans, I know plenty fiends. Bitch, I'm chasing goals, I ain't chasing dreams. A lot of people stuck in the place they never seen. It's a cold world, best friends turn to enemies. People come, people go, a lot of memories. Ain't no second chances, bitch, this ain't Jeopardy. The hug on my back, cause they know I got the recipe.
What's up, guys? We are back live. Hey, you'll never guess who I see in the studio. It's Brother Paul. He's running away. I'm here with Coach. Coach, how you doing?
Good to see you guys. I'm good. Doing
Yes,
good.
sir.
Got back to football today, so we're like now back in the swing of all podcasts, all sports, all everything, man. So
Nice.
feeling good.
What are we doing here?
So we're back with Coach Hampton. We had Coach on Sunday. We got to talk some sports, some women's basketball, get a little bit of her story, and now we're gonna kind of take some things down some different paths today.
I watched it. It was good.
Definitely appreciate you. It was definitely a great
Good
conversation.
for sure.
Way to come back after the hiatus. Way to be back tonight too.
Yes.
So, tell us about yourself. You can start from that age until now, or you can start wherever you want.
I mean, to touch off of Monday, or Sunday, I'm sorry, Mondays. But basically, I grew up here. I enjoy sports. I played basketball. I played soccer. I don't know. Trying to think of what I could tell you something new about myself. I don't know. I always like business. So in school, I always touched on like business management, all stuff like that in school. So I don't know.
And you own a business?
Yes, I do. I own Munchies, the ice cream bus, the big blue
Shout out.
bus. Yeah.
Yep.
So
The big
What
blue
you-
bus.
yes, the big blue bus. So we'll be setting a launch date here soon, so that we can get out and start serving some ice cream.
This is the second summer, right?
Yes, second summer.
That's awesome.
Yes.
They came out to a camp and the kids all had a blast. But that's great for our community. What, out of curiosity, what drew you to business from that young age? What kind of even draws you to it now?
Honestly, I mean, like the world that we live in, right? You either pick a career of medical, business, there's numbers of things, but I always drew to business because of I don't know, who doesn't like making money, right?
Right.
And understanding the numbers and basically it's the way to society. So I don't know, I just always fell into business because I always was curious about it. Like, creating a business is more than just making money. It's about engaging with people in the community, and the customers is always right. That it has a meaning to it, and no matter what, no matter if it's customer service or you're in like corporate America, that always sticks. So like I don't know, I just always felt like I was good at it. So I don't know, I like business.
I might have a controversial, but I don't think the customer's always right.
They're not. But I mean,
But they force
But
you.
to treat them like they are.
It's kind of playing the game.
you got to play the game.
Gordon
I mean,
Ramsay will throw you out.
Listen, but in his it's his to critique you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like so the statement that the customer is always right is that they need you, we need them, right? So at the end of the day, is it going to hurt me to drop my pride to say, you know what? Let's just make it right at the end of the day. Instead of creating let's create a solution to the
Right.
problem. Let's
1000%.
Yeah, so that's where I say that's what I mean by the customer's always right. Let's do what's right at the end of the day. Now, if in my mind I know I did the best that I can, then that's all I got to stand on.
Right.
But at the end of the day, if you're buying ice cream from me, I want to make it right. So if you feel like I shorted you or anything like that, I'm gonna make it right at the end of the day.
And this might be controversial, but capitalism rocks, bro. This is why. Capitalism rocks.
I mean, hey, it's gonna get controversial no matter what you do in life. So it's like you just pick your poison.
Listen, I love business. I love business like to the fullest. I love capitalism. I love making money. I love trying to climb the mountain. And I'm not even saying like, dude, I ain't got it like that. Like, I'm not the guy, I'm not Jeff Bezos. I'm not but I'm a guy, not even close, but I'm a guy that just loves the ability to continue to do what you want to climb and do.
Most definitely.
And that's what I think is, like you said, it's almost the vision. It's the impact, the vision, the
Most
brand.
definitely.
It's, you guys have done it here with BrainJerk. It's that all of it coming together. It almost like, weirdly to me, businesses kind of take on like their own being. You know what I mean? It's almost like BrainJerk is its own being in itself in an odd way. It's like Munchies, you know, is its own brand, its own being.
Yeah.
I know it's kind of a weird way, but I've always thought of my businesses like that. Like, man, the more you go and build them, the more they become like their own. Like, man, it's its own. I don't want to say living thing, but like, it's its own, you know, entity. Kind of like,
Yeah.
it's something you really like. It's something that really goes with you and everything you do, and that's what I think is beautiful about it too.
And the biggest thing is we as business owners want you to see our vision. So when it comes to forefront and you see like, hey, I've been working, you know, like it doesn't just come overnight. And that's what people,
Right.
you know, don't think about when you're creating like brain jerkers, right? It didn't just come overnight. You've probably had this idea for quite some time, but you got the, you know, the floor to pave it. And now look what you're doing, you know? So it's like that vision that you see, you can, you know, bring it to forefront, and not only your customers but your family. And so people are like, wait, where did you get this idea from? It don't just come overnight. Like,
Right.
Oh,
you know,
it's been 10, 12 years in the making before that it even got a name.
And it might have been your 10th or 12th idea. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Here's
Whatever
the
it
thing with
was.
us is we've thrown those 10 or 12 ideas together in one pot. and
Right.
Here you go.
Right.
there you go.
Or it might culminate like that too.
But it always takes sometimes more than just one person, right?
Yes.
And that's what
Right.
team, and then
Yep.
that's where we touch with Sunday with this. The sport industry goes hand in hand with business because you have to learn to be a team player.
Yeah.
I can't just run everything, you know.
Facts.
You might be the head of it, but if you think about it, you need you know, an engineer, you need someone that's doing outreach for the, you know, it's
Right.
like,
Yep.
so a lot of people get it confused with business. It's like it's not just one person. You gotta have a group.
It's a
You know,
village. Yep.
yeah. So I mean, that's my philosophy.
That's the truth, because I know people that, you know, they have a team. I'm not going to name names, but I know in the rap game close to us, right?
Yeah.
We've got people that don't have a team at all, and they've got way more talent than this person over here who's got a team behind him pushing with him.
Yeah.
And this guy's like, I don't know what I have to do.
It's
Well,
almost like you're at a standstill.
Yeah, you got to get a
because-
team.
It's same in coaching. If you're trying to move up the ladder in coaching, like you better network and have a resource. You better have, you know, or you're not really gonna. And that's like, you know, part of it is being a good coach and building relationships and doing what you're supposed to. But part of it is like, you got to be able to make some connections for people to make phone calls and you know who you are and be in those rooms with them. Like,
be everywhere. That's what we did in the very beginning. Is we were everywhere. You couldn't look anywhere without seeing
shoot, you guys
us.
still are, really.
Yeah, but we've slowed down just because to get more focused.
Yeah.
Right.
And sometimes you have to do that in order
Yeah.
for you to grow. You have to focus in on one thing. You can't be everywhere. But also too, that's why it's more than one of you sometimes. And like where you can't be, you might have another member of your team to be over. You know, it's like you can't be. You,
Right.
if
been
there
in
was like
multiple
5 of
places.
me, I would be great. But it's only one. You know, so
Right.
sometimes I'm like, when I lay down, it's just like I'm just sinking in my bed because I'm like, my brain is so exhausted from just everything of being a mom and working, and then also too working for my business, where it all just becomes like, okay, I need a break. Like,
Yep.
so that's why you do need that team. And two, always have an open mind. So
My thing is, don't ever box us in a corner.
yeah.
Biggest thing is not to box yourself in the corner, because that happens a lot. You'll focus and be like, okay, this is my lane, but really you won't see like there's a little bit over here that would get you to the next level, but you're so focused on this, what's in front of you, you can't see the actual vision and the long term.
Right.
That's
agree.
part of the reason why we slow down a little bit, is just to catch our vision again.
You have to see everything in business. And actually my guy that I listen to, PBD, wrote a book on this, and I'm in the middle of reading it right now, but it's basically about staying 5 moves ahead in business and in life. And until you kind of master that ability to not just think things through right now, but be able to set yourself up with whatever you're doing now for the future, you know, and all that kind of different stuff, that domino effects, like you're going to continue to run into kind of the same problems or be stuck in a cycle until you find a way to think ahead and kind of plan ahead. And that's
There will
like
be
same here,
problems.
bro. I've been through that too, where with everything, I'm like, we got podcast, even like, what are we doing with Kicking It with Coach K with Pillar Talk? Like, where are we taking this? here and where are we taking this, 2 years from now, 3 years from now. So like that's always something you should always be thinking about. Like, how is what I'm doing now going to be something I can, evolve? Is it something that's going to help me? That's the fun in business.
I mean, I know you just came on recently, but who'd have thought Pillar Talk? We've been going for 3 years right now.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just do it.
Yeah.
If you have any questions or have any ideas of starting anything, just do it.
I think that's people's first, the first steps of like success, right? Is that fear.
Yeah.
And once you, put yourself into those shoes, it's like, what would I have been waiting for?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Right. Yep.
First step, you got to take a chance on
It's
yourself.
going to be hard. Everything you want in life, it's hard.
For sure.
You want to be strong. You got to put the work in. And that goes in everything, whatever it's business or your mind or whatever.
I always like that thing you see on the internet sometimes. It says like, choose your hard, right? Like you can either go to the gym and stay in shape, or you can have health problems, right? You can either, you can either go outside and enjoy the sunlight, or you can become, depressed inside. You can, there's all types of, either way is going to be difficult, but you got to choose your difficult, right? I always tell my football kids that. I'm like, school is going to be hard, right? It's hard to study, go to practice, all this other stuff, but it's also hard to like not graduate and not walk. Like,
for sure.
You gotta pick which heart you're trying to deal with.
Well, we all have like 24 hours in a day, right? It's
Yep.
you choose
How
on
you
what
use
you
it.
want to do. So if you want to play a video game for 12 hours of it, you got another 12.
Have you ever thought? Have you
played
done
for
it?
12 hours.
Have you
I
guys?
sure have. Multiple days.
Have you guys
But
ever?
look, I mean, your other 12 might have been on BrainJerker. So
I actually saw something. It was like, okay, spend. What is it? It was like he does 7 hours is a day to him. I forget who it was, but his day goes off 7 hours. So for this 7 hours, maybe I slept for that day. Okay, now I got 7 more hours till the next day. So his days are split pretty much, into 3.
Crazy way to live.
But
I mean,
okay,
that is
I can
right.
take 7 hours to do this, and it won't get to me as long as I take 7 hours over here to do what's important.
Right.
I mean, if you think about it, we do it every day, right? If you work a 9 to 5, you're taking 8 hours of your day to put it into your grind of, you know what I mean? Some people don't have businesses, so they might work a 9 to 5, right? And then they have the other hours to, they can just go sit at home and go, prop their feet up, watch TV.
Which
Relax.
I hate to say it,
Most people do. Or you work on your vision, right? A lot of people say, you go to a company, you invest, and then you go invest in yourself, right?
That's why so many don't do it, because it's hard. It takes a lot.
It's hard, but those are the same people that wish they probably would have took the risk 10 years ago.
Harder than people make it out to be.
It's very difficult.
But that doesn't mean it's impossible or you shouldn't do it.
No, not at all.
Because the biggest step is the push. That very first push. Okay, I can do this. It's like jumping in the water, right? Once you realize, okay, I can float.
After the water's cold and you get in there.
Yeah, you're like, okay, I can tread. Here we go.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, you're swimming.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's how it is. That's really how it is.
And see, that's from surrounding yourself too. Like I feel bad saying this, but like I have a hard time hanging out with 9 to 5 people, bro. Like I really do, because the thinking in a lot of levels is not the same. Like, for example, like I just talked to a guy that I was good friends with this guy at Neapco when I used to work at Neapco building auto plant parts and stuff. But like just the difference in thinking between somebody who believes in like, business, capitalism, just, go invest in my job for 6-7 hours a day, go to work. And then somebody who I enjoy working 6-7 days a week between coaching, between all this stuff, somebody who has a different type of passion. Right. And then somebody who goes to the plant for 7-8 hours, 10 hours a day, whatever, and goes home, watches Netflix. Like it's a different entirely way of thinking.
Yep.
And it's not that I don't like those people. I have love for them.
Yeah.
I just have a hard time. Like we have a hard time seeing things in a lot of the ways.
It's like being a football fan and then trying to watch tennis.
Yeah.
Sorry, I
Yeah.
can't do it. Like I can't.
Honestly, tennis is actually a hard sport.
It's crazy.
It
And
is
I
hard.
enjoy watching
nuts.
it.
No, I've never. I mean, I don't really watch. The thing is like I really don't watch sports. For me to be a sports person, I really don't watch sports. It's just because I never have the time.
Mhm.
But like tennis, like I used to like make fun of people who play tennis, golf, all that, and I'm like, really, you got to have some coordination.
Golf is one of the hardest sports.
And
there
y'all
is.
know who the
Yes.
two biggest beast athletes damn near ever were? And the Williams sisters were.
Oh, for sure.
Nuts.
skill wise, not
They
not
were
like
crazy
beating
good.
people up or pushing people around wise. Yes, football and hockey and MMA are the hardest sports, but as far as like skill
Yeah. Oh, for
that
sure.
it takes to you got to hit that ball on that racket just perfect.
So
to
listen.
And
make
then you
sure
got to
it goes
jump
that
back.
way.
So
Yeah.
we're having
That's a lot.
little sneak peek in the summer. Me, Coach Jones, Henry Jones, and Stefan Umfris are going to debate on Kicking It with Coach K. So we're going to have a debate on which sport has the best athletes and which sport
Okay.
has to
Oh,
be the
that's
most
nice.
skill.
Hockey.
And whoever else would like to sit down
Hockey.
on the interview or on the podcast and have that, like you join us too.
I'd
Like
say hockey.
we're gonna have that conversation, but we
Oh
actually
no,
just
you lose your teeth in hockey.
If you don't
Hockey's
say
nuts.
hockey, if you don't say hockey, you're wrong. It's
listen.
that
It's
simple.
hard
You
for
have to learn how to skate.
it's yeah.
You have to learn a whole new mode.
It's
of
football on
transportation.
ice, bro.
And then
like
you take,
it's
Yeah.
say, baseball, right? You take
Right.
a bat
Yeah.
and you flatten it with a flat
with
puck.
a hard
Now you
puck
gotta-
that hurts.
Now you got to do all this together while you got another guy trying to take you out.
yeah.
Not just like guard you, but literally
Take you out.
drive you through the glass.
But see, when you really think
and then
about
you're
it,
the goalie, and these guys are shooting 80 to 100 miles an hour at you.
yeah, that is
Forget that.
crazy.
Forget
But then, like,
that.
I listened
That's
to
why they're
Nate
insane.
Allen argued about pitchers, right? Yeah, hockey players are wild. And if y'all haven't seen the episodes that we've had with hockey
Yeah.
players, they are the best.
Coaches,
Let me
hey.
say this: they're the most entertaining episodes that you will ever
Coach was a
listen
little
to.
nervous. We had a goalie on one time. I was like, ask him about how
The stuff he
goalies
was
are
saying.
weird. Goalies are real weird. It's just stereotype. They really are, though.
Yeah.
He goes, so can you tell me about how he was trying to dance around? And he goes, how weird goalies are. it's just known. It's one of
Hockey
the
players
things.
are crazy. They're nuts. And then we've had two of them on the show, and like they're wild. They say whatever. They grew up in like some kind of just like we were talking about the girls that grew up in Boston, right? Like,
Yeah.
these are all or Baltimore.
Yeah.
I'm like, these are all like Boston like type of dudes, like Baltimore,
Canadian
just like
hard asses.
yeah, just the
know,
hardest dudes in the
and
world. Like
over there,
no
they are
Diddy.
not. I mean, any sport that they do, I mean, they put their all into. Like,
yeah,
it's,
facts.
like my daughter, like they played a few teams from like I want to say Ontario. I mean, those parents, like it's a cakewalk
It's
over here.
crazy.
I mean, they're yelling at their kids, and their kids just go out there and they thrive on it. And I look at my daughter
crazy.
like, "Did you just hear that?" And she's like, and I'm like, "But you see why her drive is 10 times better.
Yeah.
It's not that her parent is beating up. I mean, if you want to be the best, you have to be pushed, and that's with everything. So I'm like, yeah,
100%.
they, I don't know.
It's like
my daughter playing soccer, right? So it's a difference between, say, at Triumph. When she was at Triumph, I was dang
shout out
near
to Triumph.
right
that was
on
my
the-
first coaching job.
Yeah,
I was dang near like on the sidelines, following the ball on the sideline, telling her, "Okay, this, you got plenty of room." Basically, being another coach on the opposite side,
Right.
But then she moves to the high school, and I'm stuck on the bleachers, right? And she's like, I hate you not being there to guide me and yell at me when I needed to do this or that. And
Yeah.
it's like, I told you you would miss it one day.
Yeah, and it's like now I'm not there, and I guess you don't realize until you get older that the things that your parents does that's like, wow, now this makes sense.
Mhm.
And then it's like when it's not
Facts.
there, you're like, are you gonna hold my hand? And it's like, no, this is what I was. If riding a bike, training
Right.
wheels, you take the training wheels, you push them, go. You
Yeah.
either sink or you fall.
Yeah.
Like
I
don't know.
rode a
That's
bike pretty well, but I didn't swim very well when they threw me in the pool. I'll tell you that.
I took swim lessons,
That's
and
how I
because I
learned to
played a
swim,
sport,
too.
I broke my arm.
Okay.
So I didn't finish my swim lessons. So when I hopped in, my pride was so much on the line that I had to float, doggy paddle something. Because
Just
I'm
had to
like,
stay up.
listen, you guys are not about to make fun of me.
Yeah,
So-
right.
that's fun.
But that's like me, my competitiveness.
That's
I
life.
think about it. But you
love.
have to look at, and that's why I would say like kids need to play sports, because in
Right.
those attributes, it's life. All those things in life, like competitiveness.
Yep.
If you think you're trying to, tell yourself, hey, I need to push through it and I'll succeed no matter what it is, you're gonna do it.
Yep. Especially if that's what you really want.
Yeah.
And we tapped on this a lot Sunday too, but like I feel like every kid to me should play a sport, like all of them, even if they do something else, and they all should be heavily involved in them. Like, let's forget about the sports side of things. Like, I just had word today that 2 of my middle schooler kids, because I just got back from my hiatus, that they are pretty much done for 2 things that are like things you should never hear a middle schooler ever doing. Like things that you shouldn't hear a high schooler really doing, to be honest. And like that type of stuff is like when you're not in the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
That's why sports are important, because it gives you, like, I don't give a damn if you get a scholarship. I do, but I don't at the same time.
Well, it saves you from a lot.
We need to keep you in the right place, right time, keep you under some kind of structure, learning the right things. And that don't mean we're like, we're not in there bossing you around and stuff. We're giving you an opportunity to lift weights, do your homework. Yeah, you can't.
Idle hands cause mischief.
Oh, for sure.
Yep. I've heard a couple different sayings about idle hands, and that's true, bro. Like,
idle hands and idle minds.
So when you have them going to sports, and then you got them going to, DSP, diverse sports training, with Coach Javon, or you got them going to Level Up with John and them over there, or you got them going to Go Mad, or, they're even going to Planet Fitness on their own.
Yeah.
And then they're going to practice. Like, guess what they're not doing? Well, they're not selling drugs. They're not out, doing this. They're not out, getting in trouble with the police, whatever. Like, they're just not out doing stuff that they'd otherwise be out. Or shoot, they're not sitting on a phone the whole time. Video games, like they're being active.
And if you notice, kids that are not on video games, like their attention span is totally different. Like focusing, and like my daughter, I let her, she's like, oh, she took a break from soccer, and that half of a year made a huge difference. And I'm like, look at you, you're lazy, like you're tired. I mean, you have what it takes to be a phenomenal athlete, but you sat on the phone and you just, now you can't focus. And now that you can't have a phone for how many ever hours, like your drive is different. You're focusing, and now it's finally popping in your head like, okay, this is what's going on. So I definitely think sports should be something.
You guys said, I agree with that, but I also think this is a little controversial too, probably, but I think all kids need to be teased, not bullied, but you need to tease your kid.
Teasing it was
okay, so for that kid to go to school, he's gonna get teased and be like, oh, no, get back at him.
Football,
not like physically, but talk crap back.
See, for me, football teaches them that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bite back.
Okay, smack talk.
Yes.
Like
you got to remember, football, the pads.
Don't.
With basketball, I'm not sure. Quick football, the pads come out. So we're gonna get to that.
Me and my brother's 5-year-old, 6 now. Maybe he's 7 even. But me and that little kid go back and forth all day long. And when we talk about it, if I bring it up right now, he'll be, yeah, we do.
Well, I agree with you on that.
Kids need.
I think that right there, it's the skin that needs. You know what I mean? Like that. I agree with that, because that's what I teach my 9-year-old, and her comebacks are better than mine. Yeah. But I tell him, like, your jokes are a little rusty. Need you to work on that. Like, should like say something like, well, that's why you're this, or like she had to go in braces and she just had her front braces, and the kids were talking about her, and she's like, well, at least my mom cares enough to fix my teeth. And I'm like,
yes, that's what I'm talking about.
But I'm like, the thing is, okay, you say that, but now we're hitting on stuff like this. You're saying that, but then that kid's parent might not, So then I have to be like, all right, just be conscious to know that not everybody, but also too, you can handle yourself, but I guess if you can't dish it, you need to teach your kids. But I do it at home.
That is a take among a lot of people, though, that if there was a little bit, there was a little bit more messing around, you don't need to take somebody's lunch money because you're gonna beat them up.
Don't go teasing some kid that don't really like to be teased.
But usually the reason why a kid is a bully, there's a root to it. So they might be bullied at home, and
that's real.
It reflects at school, but at that time, like I tell my daughter, okay, there might be a reason they act like that. I will never tell you to be bullied, but also to try to understand.
Correct.
If this person is because my daughter did get bullied, and it really broke my heart. but I had to understand. And in my mind, I'm like, I end up finding out the home life wasn't great. Here I
Yeah,
am.
a lot of times.
I take my time. I take my daughter to the school store every Tuesday. You know, they're looking at her. So she was a target. But my daughter wasn't as green as they were expecting because, you know, they hit her or something. And at school, I told her, you know, you get hit, it's okay to hit back as long as you're not, you know, being the one to initiate. And she hit the kid back and she was like, I got 10 minutes off of recess, but I bet he won't mess with me again. And I'm like, my girl,
That'd be the
that's my
last
girl.
time.
Because you have to stand up, especially as a female.
Yes.
Like a lady told me, you teach your daughter that? Of course.
Yes.
Why would I teach her to get bullied?
Hey, I hate that. Side note, I hate when people do that. Megan said something. My wife said something to Roar at the Toledo Zoo at the lights, and I forget what it was, but it wasn't nothing derogatory. It was just discipline. It was
Yeah.
just like something like it was something about like even just holding the door open or something. But Meg said it in like a, you know, a stern way because she like kind of shut the door on the lady, and Meg was like, you know, you hold the door open for people, and lady walks by like, you talk to your kids like that? I'm like. She didn't even cuss at her or nothing. I'm like,
Well, she's
lady, if
teaching
you
them-
heard the way
in
I
that-
talk
in
to
that
my
instant-
kids and the kids I coach, like you
Yeah.
probably think I'm a bad person.
In
Like,
that instant,
damn.
yes, that's
Yeah.
exactly how
I'm like,
I'm
yeah, stern.
training my
yeah,
kid.
what you have to
What
like.
you gonna say? Hey, she's 10. She don't need to be babied no more.
Well, the thing is you're the like you literally like have to teach your kids the like every like okay, we know how to problem solve in life, right?
Yeah.
But
Right.
as a 8-year-old and 9-year-old, this is the first time they're encountering it. So in that essence, okay, she might have had to tell her in a stern way, this is what you do. And I bet your daughter, in her mind, like,
Right.
my mom's not messing around. I need to do that. But that's the problem with this society. You want everyone to
It's-
have their hands held.
Yeah.
And when they're just closing the door and you not, you know, helping the elderly anymore, because we're going to be the elderly that they're not helping.
Right.
It only is going to bite us in the butt.
That's
That's true.
facts.
I mean, that's
That's
why
a great point, honestly.
I mean, I tell my daughter, and I always tell my daughter because that's the only thing that I'm, you know, raising that I
Right.
can give these examples. I mean, my dad used to do me like that. Like, I'm only telling you this because whatever.
I tell
but
my
I-
kids all the time, you gonna get these lectures.
Yeah, but I tell her like, you never know when you might need somebody, and this is where I mean, like, the customer's always right. Okay, you might come in with a bad attitude, right? And your delivery might have been completely wrong about it, right?
Mhm.
But in the next week or so, I might come across you again. And because I gave you grace on that bad day you were having, and I might have been having a bad day, that you might give me grace. It's just you never know when you might need somebody. So you should never treat a person because of their circumstances, what they come from. You just never know when you might need someone. So I tell my daughter, like, do to others what you want. So if I'm holding the door, later on, I might be older and, you know, I might need someone to hold the door for me, but I'm putting that
Right.
in the universe,
Facts.
you know, and people don't think about that.
And that kind of reminds me of the like, don't let his bad day become your bad day. Right?
Yes.
Yep.
And maybe him having a bad day interacting with you turns his day good because you didn't follow his.
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah, that energy
That's the
definitely
biggest
transfers
thing.
between
Yeah.
friends, people you, man, it could be the gas station clerk that gives
Yeah.
you some good energy. How you doing? You know, gives you some good energy, and you walk out like, hey, that's my guy, or that, you know, that's my person at the
Yeah.
gas station. They're cool. But to kind of go back to one thing I wanted to say, I just had this thought about, you know, as coaches too, when it comes to your point. So sports kind of gives kids this environment where you do kind of get, and I don't, again, this is going to be somebody in today's world will take like half the stuff anybody says and run with it and complain. But you kind of do get like a healthy level of teasing. Now, where it gets weird is like as a coach, you can't let certain things cross lines, or it's your ass, or it's the program, right? So like there's certain things that, you know, I'll let football guys, I'm not gonna lie, like people know in football history what happens at practice sometimes and different things.
Yeah.
I'll let kids talk a little trash sometimes, have their little moments, as long as nothing ever goes past certain lines, right? You never
Yeah.
want certain things in your locker room, but at the same time, like they're young, they're kids, they're competitive. Sports are supposed to be competitive. Let them
Yeah.
rip a little bit,
Most
you know, and then
definitely.
make sure you just have lines where everybody clearly knows this is acceptable, this is not. You
Well,
know,
I think people get teasing and bullying confused
Yeah.
because it's different things that you're targeting when you're bullying and you're teasing. Bullying is you basically trying to cause some type of harm. That's either
Right.
mentally,
That's a
physically,
great
or
point.
emotionally. Teasing is just like I said, like if my daughter's dishing something, you better be able to
We're
take
having
it.
fun.
We're having fun. So if
Right.
you felt like, hey, like, oh, you're wearing this today, you look like, you know, you're comparing. I'm not gonna take it personal because if we're cool, it's
Right.
not like I'm trying to hurt you. I'm just joking with you.
And
But
that-
if
go ahead.
oh, no, I was just gonna say, but me being a bully, it would be more or less me saying like, dude, you come from this. This is the, you know, I'm trying to hurt you emotionally.
Right.
I'm trying to mentally mess with you. That's bullying. But if you're messing around and you know, like, I don't know, the two is just
Right. No, there's a difference for sure.
Imagine if everybody would just live by that rule,
yeah.
right?
Right.
Think about how many comedians would
We'd
be
be a
in
little
this world.
tougher. We'd have less people canceled.
Oh, a
It'd
lot.
be a little bit more. I just feel like, yeah,
I mean, comedians, that's how they say. I mean, they're part of their, what is it, material is whoever's sitting in the front row. They
That's
might
why I
Those are
always-
flame
my
them.
favorites.
I-
Yeah.
I always-
Yeah.
I just know I'm not
And
gonna sit in
everybody
the front row.
laughs.
shoot, I've
right?
sat in the front at Amaya's comedy shows, and the dude messed with me hard like 2-3 times. But that's
it's an art,
something
though.
like you got to
Yeah.
know. Like it don't matter if you're man, woman, Mexican, black, white, trans. Like it don't matter what you are. If you're in the crowd and it's a comedy show, like they are going to crack some jokes.
Yeah.
That's
As
and
they should.
what is beautiful about it is no one's safe. So
Yeah.
it doesn't matter if you're a middle-aged white man, if you're a young woman, it really just don't matter. They're
Well,
going
that's their art.
to,
They have to
right.
look at you. They're gonna have to look
It's-
at you and pick your flaws.
I hate to say it, but it's kind of one of the purest, kind of the pure arts left in
Yeah.
America, because everything's so filtered and I hate it. Like I actually, like I've always said this, but I'm like the biggest like Elon X, like, and I've always said this too, like let the bad people say shit so we know who the bad people are. Like
You'd rather
instead of
know.
everybody being closeted and then we find out because they did something harmful or dumb, like at least I can get a warning, like, okay, stay away from that guy. He says dumb shit, or something
Yeah.
like that.
Well, they always tell you to watch your open enemy. It's the people
Right.
that's next to you that might be your
Facts.
biggest.
So I
So-
hate the whole like cancel everybody type of thing, but like plus
I agree with you. I agree with you fully, because even if it is hurtful, you go somewhere else, or
block them.
Block
Get rid of 'em.
That's
I don't-
what I mean.
but I
You
feel
don't
like
have
every
to put
parent-
your energy there. Put your energy somewhere else.
Plus,
yeah, most
plus
certainly.
like what I see about X is people will say like, well, there's a lot of racism on there towards like all types of different people and everything. And it's like, okay, but so I'm on Twitter, right? Or X a lot. And I don't see none of that. Maybe it's because I just don't dive in and look
I don't
for
see
it.
it.
Yeah,
Like
I don't. I mean,
I literally see
honestly,
sure it
football and
happens.
I haven't
sports.
been on Twitter since
But-
like high school.
And I'm sure it does
But that's
too.
just-
And I'm
You
not
live right now.
Oh, my bad. My bad.
I'm not saying that it's not there. What I'm saying is if you're not looking for that type of negative stuff like that,
It's not. in
it's
your
not
algorithm.
just right there in your algorithm, in your face type
Yeah.
of deal. Like my stuff, if I scroll right now, it's like 99% football because I only use Twitter for football. But
Yeah.
so it's like you kind of gotta like go to that and like kind of want to see it so you can kind of be a troll on X or whatever your whatever your motive is for finding that. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like, and I've always stood against that stuff, obviously, but at the same time, like that's why it doesn't come up on my algorithms. That's why my X is fine. Like, let's just be able, because I feel like it's one or the other. You either have free speech or you don't.
Right.
Right? It's kind of like one of them things. It's like there's
I feel like
it's
everyone
hard
should
middle
be able to
ground.
have free speech. Like I mean, it's definitely part of the
Yes.
Constitution, but
Right.
it's like, but the thing is like we don't always have to agree. My
Facts.
philosophy is agree to disagree. I don't have to agree with what you're saying, but I don't have to dislike you as a person.
Correct.
So if you're telling me like, I tell you, hey, I like the color purple. You're like, I don't like purple. Does that
You're
mean you don't like?
wrong.
It's like, well, purple's not the best. Who cares?
That's the biggest problem though in America today
well,
is
we're
like
not meant to all be alike.
we
so-
can't
Yeah.
it's like we can't sit down as we can. Like him and I agree on a lot, but we don't agree on every single thing.
But
You know,
it's-
I'm
you
sure
gotta have
you
an
and I
open
agree on a
mind.
lot, but I'm sure there's things that we don't necessarily see the same. But yeah, it's like we're missing that ability to like sit down and say like, hey, you have this point, I have this, here's yours, here's mine.
Yeah.
Hey, let's go grab a bite to eat. You know, like it doesn't need to be like you have a different point than me and now I can't talk
Not
to
to
you.
bring him up, but that's why Trump went to Korea. to North Korea is for that specific reason. We've pushed Korea out forever. They're the bad guys. We're not going to talk to them.
Right.
Well, maybe if we sit down for dinner and have a conversation, we can figure out what the problem is.
But see, I don't feel like people really know the real root of problems. It's
you're
just
right.
generations like, hey, you know what?
That's true.
I was taught to hate, like, okay, we were talking about racism. Okay, I was taught to hate you. But why do you hate me?
Right.
Right.
Oh, I don't know. Just because my great-great-grandma told me to hate you. It's like,
You keep asking questions, there
Right.
is no real answers.
not at all.
Yeah.
Because
Right.
at the end of the day, we all bleed blood. You know,
Facts.
we all bleed red. So it's like, you know, like if you look at it, okay, why can't we get along? I don't have to like the same music as you. I don't have to like the same, but at the end of the day, we have something in common.
Yep.
So why can't we be cool?
Mhm.
And that's why I think people, but a lot of times is people don't like for other people to have open minds. And we all should be open to everything, in my opinion. You know, like I don't have to like everything. That's me. Just because I don't like what you do doesn't mean I have to do it.
You should be open-minded, and you should be asking questions about
Questions.
about.
Well,
ev-
just get your
about,
own view on that
Right.
person, place, or thing.
Yep.
That's the best way to do
It's
it.
just, you're right, and it's sad because that's what we're missing so much. We used to be like that. Like we used to, like, if y'all remember, like even politics, like when Bush was running against, who was it, Kerry or whatever, like people had their opinions, and like, you know, we'd even go to school when we were young and do the little votes in school.
Yeah,
or
we did that
whatever.
in school. I didn't even know. I just one time I think it was like Bush versus Kerry, and I think I just
Yeah.
chose Kerry because I thought Kerry looked better than Bush. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but it was like, okay, that's a dumb way of thinking things because now I'm like
But
older.
that's how people vote.
but
Sometimes
it
that's
is.
still how they vote as adults.
Yeah.
Which I don't know who you about to vote for this election then if you voting based on looks, but
No, no,
Donald
no.
Trump's beautiful.
I need ethics. I need, no. Well, let's vote on mindset first
Yes.
off.
yeah,
Actually,
it
What-
So
isn't what's his face? Kennedy's going third party,
RFK,
right?
yep.
I think Kennedy's more pretty out of all three of them.
RFK's in the best shape. Like that dude still works out. Like
Well, he's not 80
he
some years
posts
old either.
pictures on his Instagram, and
we
he's like
had-
doing pull-ups and like double the amount of pull-ups we can do and shit. I'm like, what? Like, all right, so maybe a president that's actually like in shape can talk about like take care of yourselves. Like that
Yeah.
would be kind of a change. Because I'm still open right now. I'll be real. I'm not voting for who's in office. I'll just be honest. But I don't know out of the other options who, to be honest, yet.
I haven't really
It's
looked in
hard.
the political side. I just ain't have time.
But
Like,
it's listen. I always tell people vote for your money.
Well,
vote for
the
what puts
election's
I
money
just
in your
started
pocket.
voting. I just
politics
realized
is
how
gonna
important.
start.
Oh, it's gonna
Getting
pick up.
heated, and it's gonna get stupid, ugly, and gross
Yeah.
here shortly. And
Oh yeah.
I'm not looking forward to it at all.
Can I be real? I am.
I got banned off of Facebook for the last Donald Trump election. I had to show ID for Facebook and everything.
I
No
just
way.
had to go
they-
through
they
that too,
called
bro.
me a domestic terrorist.
Oh, you went through
Off
that
of an
level
opinion?
stuff.
Yeah, because I was majorly bashing both parties, and they shut me down. And then every time I tried to start a new Facebook,
Catch you.
different names and everything, shut me down.
Yeah, see, that's the stuff.
Gotta
I
love
don't-
technology.
That's that free speech stuff, though, that we're talking. Like, that's why, like, I hate it because nobody uses X, but I'm like, man, we all should
Listen, I'm
probably
gonna have
go
to
to
dive
X
into
at
X
this point.
because you keep talking about X. Like, let
Yeah,
me
we
go
all
on
should
it.
probably go to X.
I
at this
typically don't
point.
have nothing to say. I just look on Facebook, and so many people are on Facebook preaching about a lifestyle they don't even live. So it's like
It's crazy, ain't it?
it is. But social media, you can be who you want. So this person on social media, they
That's-
might be at home with.
Don't y'all think though that's why people are so like
This is
let's be real, we're depressed in America. Like
Kinda.
We are, and I honestly I hate it. I really hate it, and I wish we didn't have social media.
well, here's the deal. And this is
I'm
the
with
problem.
you.
The problem isn't social media.
I'm with
It's the problem is that people take social media too serious.
But in
It's
life-
not real
Yeah.
life.
But that's the problem. We're not playing a game. Okay, so on social media, you're playing the game, I guess you can say. But I'm looking at it as you're telling me you might you might be a billionaire on social media, and I see you in person. And that's gonna make me mad because why are you
driving
selling
a
me
Ford
this?
Tempo? I don't even know Ford Tempos were Ford.
Or what's that called?
Might be. I don't know.
What's those? Oh my
Like,
god!
was you at the dealership for a little bit today taking pictures?
No, I'm a serious person. Though. So if I
feel you,
see
though.
that and I get catfished, I'm gonna be so mad
Yeah.
because I'm believing. I guess like
With
I'm
these
believing in
filters.
the illusion that you're giving me. So I'm gonna be really mad. Like,
Oh,
like I've seen so many people that I'm like, no, they're cool on social media. I see them in person. I'm like, I've been catfished, and that is not okay. But that's me because that's just I shouldn't think of that. I shouldn't think everyone's me.
'Cause
So
I'm me on Facebook, but I talk a little bit more than I do I'm in real life.
Man,
Like,
you
I
say
like
a lot of shit.
I like to stir the pot a little bit, and I'd say things that I don't even believe.
but see, but that's
I don't
okay.
even believe it some
Hey,
of the times.
This dude will post a question and it'll have
It's just
68 comments in 5 minutes. You're
I'm just
like,
asking
oh,
a question, and people get mad.
They do.
I'm
because
not kidding. I'll
I'm
be
asking
texting him like, what'd you
questions
stir the
about
pot up for today, bro? I'm gonna go check it out.
Sometimes I'm
All right,
stirring
so
the
you're one of
pot,
those
but
people that might have like a 98 comment thread, and
Mhm.
then you got to go
Sometimes.
back and read. Okay,
Sometimes.
but see, I'm that person that's gonna be there and read that and like look. But then I know you, like I know you as a person. I'm like, oh, he's harmless. But if someone that I've never met, like you got Facebook friends that you've been friends with decades, never seen them in person, then you finally see them and you're like,
Yep. I
this
go
is
through that.
you,
yeah.
or you're filtered.
Yeah.
I've
And this
seen
is
a
what
couple
you
of
really
them
look
at
like?
Planet Fitness and stuff. Yep.
I'm just like, I'm appalled a little bit. I'm
Those
just like,
people-
why would you?
Those people
I
on
just-
social media, when you actually meet them in real life and you don't realize that you've met them, and then they're like, okay, this happened to me. So there was this chick that I seen on Snapchat, and we chat, from time to time. Then I went to her work, not knowing that she worked there, and she was my waitress, and I didn't know it. And then the next thing you know, I overheard her saying that, oh, that guy over there, we talk on
So she
Snapchat,
catfished you?
and he didn't even say nothing to me. But it's be like, well, maybe if you looked like your pictures in
So you were
real life,
catfished.
I guess, yeah.
See?
Do y'all don't find that as like a super weird world though? Like sometimes, like I've done that too. Whether they look different or not. I just when I see somebody that I've been friends with on Facebook for like years, but maybe never met them, like it could be a coach, it could be anything, and then we finally run into each other. I'm like, damn, this is a weird feeling. Like I feel like I know you, but I don't know you at all.
Yeah.
And then it's that like, do I know anything about you? Because is any of that shit you post real?
That's what I'm saying. But like,
like,
this is how
damn,
you know they
it's a
don't know you
weird
is they call
world.
you by your Facebook name. So if
Yeah.
they call you and say they might, like you got names that people that calls you. Like mine, like Demi came from like my family. But
Yep.
now Demi is like more of a public name versus Demoree, which is my actual name. You have to really know me to call me that. And then
Right.
other nicknames come, but you like it's just like a different type of
That's true.
knowing.
Yes, because
Or they
Exactly.
pronounce your name wrong.
Yeah,
You're
like Demore,
people
or
Right, they're like,
people-
is it 1 E 3? And I'm just like,
You're like,
just call
wait a
me Demi.
minute.
I'm like, just call me Demi.
depending on
1 I.
on what somebody calls me is like the
version
stage
they
in
get of
life
you?
that
Yep.
I know them in.
Yep. We've
For
talked
whether
about
it's high
this.
school or the next stage or now,
Uh-huh.
everybody from each of those stages calls me something different.
Yep.
I can see that. I can see. Then that's what I mean, like nickname, right? So like my cousins, they call me More, and that's short for Demore, but that's what they call me. And like some of my cousins refuse to call me Demi. They're like, Demi, who is Demi? I don't like.
Yeah.
Who is that? I'm calling you this person, but that's who you are to me. So it's
Right.
like, all right, cool. Like, be that.
I'm with you though. If I could, like, this is gonna sound crazy, but if I was president, I would shut social media down for like 5 years, bro, if not longer. I'll just shut it down. Like we get back to like going outside again,
Yeah.
enjoying.
But
Things.
social media is how some people make their
Like,
money, so I can't say shut it
you know
down.
what? Damn, you're right. Because my business is run through social media.
North Korea over
And-
here.
Yeah, you're right.
Free, right? What is it? TikTok
Listen,
ban?
it's crazy though, but I'm like, I just
Loves
okay.
Elon, but wants
Yeah.
to shut everyone
Right.
down.
So I'm driving down.
Yeah. Because social media is free promotion, by the way.
Listen,
Yeah.
you're right. I don't need to be hanging flyers from window to window.
I
no
wouldn't
more.
ban it, and I wouldn't
gotta
say
go ahead
that.
and
I just think we need to take less time on social media
Correct.
and put it more into the real world.
I just don't know
I'm
how
not
we ever
saying-
get out of this hole.
I'm not
Like I don't
saying
know
We're
how
not.
we ever.
We're not.
reverse
We just
it.
gotta learn how to adapt.
'Cause
China
technology
shuts
is
everything
getting-
down at
Okay.
say 10 o'clock. at
Man,
night,
there we go.
8
Curfew.
o'clock. Not saying that we should do this, but that is a way that China gets over it. Like say take their version of TikTok.
Y'all
right?
like communism.
You're not allowed
though.
to get on it after say 9 o'clock.
See, but that feels like control to
the
me
family
too.
time.
You're right. That feels like too much control.
Is that what you just wanted?
No, you're right. That's too much control.
But that's what
I
I'm
can't have
saying.
that.
It's like more or less like you have to control it. So
I guess what I wish is it would just disappear, like it was never here, like we
Sometimes I do
never
wish we could go back
had
to
it.
the 90s.
yes, or maybe just have
Right.
MySpace.
Like,
MySpace wasn't as
MySpace was way cooler anyway.
it was,
Way
and you
cooler.
get to pick a song
Yep.
That's what I'm saying. Music
on the mood
playing.
you were
even-
feeling.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if
Right.
you like the song,
You knew my
What would
vibe the
be-
minute you clicked on my
What would be
page.
your theme music today if you had Facebook theme music?
Oh,
One
man.
song,
oh, Facebook. Listen,
just like MySpace.
okay, you're gonna make me sound super lame on live because I don't even really listen to music like that. I
Me
mean,
neither. I listen to
I
podcasts.
just,
I listen
you know,
to a ton of music.
I was a
and
Drake
podcasts,
person.
but-
so
Okay.
like I like Drake and stuff like that, but like I don't spend my time like really figuring out like what's what. Like,
See,
right
I'm an
now.
old school hip hop guy, just not Diddy, but I'm an old school hip hop guy. Other than that, other than that, gotta
we
be
didn't-
clear.
If we didn't have social media and everything else, Diddy wouldn't be exposed right now.
That's
so,
real.
That's the truth.
That's-
and
but
neither
then-
would a lot of these other people.
No,
That's all very real.
but you have to
Nickelodeon.
take it for what it is and learn how to. Hey, in real life, you just have to deal with real life.
It's the same problem as just like cigarettes shouldn't be illegal or beer shouldn't be illegal, right? You have to learn how to not abuse it.
It just sucks because
That's
I
with
feel like
everything.
Correct.
there's no going back, and it just like when you go out on certain holidays or you go out even like the first warm day of the year, it's like
So
less people on their phone. Like, man, remember the days? It just
do.
the 90s. We talk about it all the time because we love the 90s, but like the 90s were just such in early 2000s were just such a like prime time. It was
But
when
see,
technology
I
was
feel like we
starting
only
to
love
get
the
there.
90s because stuff was covered up. Now it's starting to become out and open, like Quiet on the Set. all
Everything,
that is starting
Yeah,
to come
that's-
forefront, and now
That
we're like,
stuff is sick and sad.
would we really like the 90s if we knew? It's just we were happy with the unknown. I think I'm okay with
That's a great
this.
point.
I'm okay with
No, that's
society
actually a
now. You
phenomenal
just have to
point,
learn how
right?
to adapt. So like me as a person, I don't go on social media and cap. Like I don't live a lifestyle. I don't live
Right,
on social
right.
media because as a person, if you see me in real life, I want you to see me as a person that has their life together. I don't want you to see it on social media.
Coaches
So-
out with Ferraris and
Listen, I am
wear
not taking no
Speedos.
pictures with Ferrari.
Hey, listen,
My pictures are coaching more football.
but that's just like the mindset and level you're on, right? If you have a fantasy lifestyle, that might be for
Listen,
you.
some of my kids come to me and they're like, "Coach, you got podcasts, you got this." I'm like,
They probably think you're the
Bro,
richest person.
"Don't none of that
My
translate to
daughter
no
thinks we're
money
lame
for."
as hell.
And then they're like,
You
"You
know-
you coach high school football?" I'm like, "Bro, I don't get much of a stipend to do none of this." So
They
it's
don't
like,
realize
I'm
that's
not
all
getting paid.
volunteer and you putting your time in
My
and you
daughter,
caring about the community.
Right.
my daughter says she ain't told a single one of her friends about us.
And your best critic is your kids. Just saying. That's funny.
I had to laugh. I said, "Are you kidding me?"
That's funny.
That is funny. I'm not gonna lie, Aurora loves it
They
here.
know
She
that,
loves hanging out here.
What was it? That Wodorsky?
Oh,
They know that he came on, but that's it.
Cam.
Yeah, that's all
yeah.
they know. They
That's
don't know
funny.
anything
A
else.
shout out to him. Those were good kids. The All-Star game's actually coming up again in June. I think I'm trying to get one of them coaching. Trying to get one of them coaching jobs again for one of the teams. I want to run that back, but good
For
kid,
what?
man.
For what?
For the All-Star
Oh,
game,
okay.
Monroe County.
Oh, that's cool.
But yeah, it's they think like, I tell them, and I've told them the truth. I'm like, I run multiple businesses, but it doesn't mean I make money off multiple businesses
Yeah.
yet. Or, it's not like, but they just, they think, and I'm like, bro, you guys see me pull up in my 2008 Chevy Colorado every day.
Yeah.
Like
They don't
every
care about
day y'all
that.
see
They don't
me.
care about that.
Not at all. I'm like,
They don't
that is,
they don't care about that. Like my daughter, she's and told her friends, like, I work at a dental office. She's like, yeah, my mom's a dentist. I go on a field trip. They're like, so you're a dentist?
oh
no.
yeah, you rich too. to
Yeah,
them.
I'm like, oh yeah, my daughter paints this whole picture, and I'm like, if I die tomorrow, you have nothing, daughter. You have nothing. I mean, you got something, but not.
Yeah.
But you like, I always tell her, I tell her to be humble, right? I tell her, okay, you have all this nice stuff, but what if tomorrow, right, I fall and get hurt or something? That can all be taken away because now I have to go on disability or I have to. So I definitely try to humble her. Now the mindset she has and in her brain of what she thinks the fantasy world, I try to humble that down to we all work for what we
And
want.
you have to,
You do. You have to.
Because, you know, I can only speak for myself, but I try to show, when I was growing up, my parents kind of sheltered me from certain things,
Yeah.
of whether it was good or bad, right?
Mhm.
They didn't show me like what went into this per se in certain aspects. I think in my teaching my kids, I want them to know everything I do know and how I got there
Yeah.
and why it's this way, instead of, you know,
Yep.
getting to a 20-some-year-old and not knowing, and now having to learn at 20 instead of knowing this stuff at 12.
I agree with
13.
this.
I saw like a thing that
I
says
agree
teach
with
your
this.
kids what you wish you were taught. Like give your kids the things you wish you didn't have, which was that type of guidance or stuff like that. And I think that's huge.
Our
I always try to
our,
teach sacrificing.
Yes, that's
our
good.
parents didn't. The generation above us, a lot of the generations kind of have tried to shelter their kids, unless you go way back to, you know, the earlier days. Like they want to keep, parents have this tendency to want to keep you safe,
Mhm.
Yep.
right? Which is a great thing, obviously, but on the flip side, if you overdo that,
Vendors.
you don't
Yeah.
expose them to certain things that they
Mhm.
need to be exposed to. And so, you know, I was just talking to a guy, shout out to, because I know they watch the show, shout out to Ty Robertson and Aaron. Ty played basketball at Ida, and now he plays at Concordia.
Oh,
But
nice.
I ran into Aaron the other day, and Aaron was like, you know, Ty's a college kid now, and now I've done my part. Now it's time to let Ty go make some mistakes and learn on his own.
Oh, yeah.
And if Ty's listening, that's not a negative thing. That's just, you know, you're going to grow up, go through things, and you got to learn them on your own. But we can't, as parents, like we can't keep our kids safe from everything. You got to
No.
keep them safe from the, you know, the life-changing, harmful, you know, that type of thing, and people they shouldn't be around and whatnot. But you
Shield them, but don't shelter them.
right, you
Yes.
got to let them.
My
gotta
biggest
let
thing
them
is you got to
live.
teach them how to
Explain things.
survive.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
mean,
That's
that's
where I
what
was going
parents are
next.
getting like, well, when I grow up, I didn't have this. It's like, no, because okay, you're wondering why little Timmy is still at home because you had to get pushed out and you're not teaching him if he gets pushed out, sink or swim. Like you
Right.
have to teach that.
For that specific example, I lean two different ways. I agree with you on one hand.
No, I
But-
wouldn't push my kid
No,
out.
but on the other hand, I see how, like, say in Europe they do it, right? Grandma, grandpa, and mom and dad and the kids, they're all living under one roof, working as a team, right? So as long as my kid, say my kid's 18 and wants to stay at home, okay, as long as you're helping provide for this household,
Oh yeah, for sure.
you can stay as long as you want.
Oh yeah.
You know,
No, I
you
mean
want to
as
get
in
a wife and or a husband and move on in. Hey, let's
no,
get
I
it.
mean so let me take that back. I meant leeching.
Yes.
So you having someone in the basement who doesn't want to get off their ass per se,
mom's basement.
mom's basement, and making mom struggle to make ends meet.
Mom,
That's-
the
that-
meatloaf.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yes, that baby boy, that right there. That's what I mean.
Yep.
And that's where it's more or less like you have to teach your kids to survive without you, because how many people have you met lost in the world because
More than
A lot of
you know what I
most.
mean? Because mom and dad did everything.
A lot
You
of
got some kids who mom and dad did everything, but they did great on their own. So it honestly, I think your kids are gonna grow up how they grow up regardless. Like
Mhm.
they're gonna have an influence, whether it's you, uncle, aunt, whatever. I
Right.
mean, you have to realize that you did your best. As long as you feel like you gave your kids all the tools and the layouts, they're gonna grow up how
Most
they
of the
want.
time, it's going to be like an uncle or an aunt that they're, or a brother, you know, older
Right.
sibling
Yeah,
that
for
they
sure.
look up to more than, say, you yourself at
Yeah.
first, especially. I know
Yep.
for me it was an uncle, right?
I didn't really
I
look up to
listened to
anybody.
what he. I listened to my dad and stuff, and but he's who I looked up to, and he's who I wanted to be like, and he's who I tried to emulate.
Yeah.
Right.
Same. My uncle's in the military, so a lot of them, you know, them characteristics translate to sports, right? I played sports as an escape growing up, so you know, playing sports, it's like, oh, you better show up. Oh, you better work hard. You better be tougher than the dude across from you. You know, like sports for me was like life and death. Like it really, like we didn't have Instagram to post working harder than everybody else, you know, stuff like that. Like we were in there like, is the guy at Ida working harder than me right now? Like, I don't know. Like I'm gonna go ahead and do this extra 20 shots because,
There was
you know, or I'm gonna
instant
stay after.
gratification.
none. You had to really work. You had to know, and you had to guess, like, am I putting in enough? Like, maybe I'll stay for another half hour because I don't know what they're doing over there.
Yeah.
So it was like, yeah, man. And my uncle was one like that too, big time.
Let's take it back to business real quick before we get out of here. So you're going into your second year.
Yes.
And I know how I felt after the year 1 and going into year 2.
Mm.
A lot of excitement, a lot
Yeah,
of like,
most
okay,
definitely.
this is what I did this year. This is where I could get better. How are you, and what are your feelings, and what are you excited for going into year 2?
So year 2, I'm definitely excited. I've had a few customers ask me like, "Are you coming back out on the road?" I didn't realize how many people actually looked forward to the ice cream truck because it's kind of like a memorabilia of parents growing up, right? And what they're used to seeing when they were growing up. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to, seeing the face. It's really the kids because the kids give you like brutal, honest opinions. Like, like, oh my gosh, the stuff that I just ran across out there. But I mean, my
Takes a lick of this. This is trash.
you know what? It was like, oh gosh, negotiating with the kid is like next level because like it's not even that they don't have valid views, it's the views that they're looking at. It's like, I guess I never thought of that. And it's like scratching my head. But it's just funny. I mean, there's been some great kids that I came across. But I mean, I'm just looking forward to I like the nature of it. Like, like you said, like you might be having a bad day, but you come across me on the ice cream truck and my vibe might change your day,
Mhm.
or a kid, or I mean, I've done it multiple times and then someone reach out on me on Facebook or social media and say like, "Hey, you didn't know this, but I was going through this. Thank you." And I'm just like, oh, like, it's like a pay it forward thing, right? But just with a vibe. But I'm just looking forward to it. There's things that last year I'm trying to troubleshoot from this year that I did last year. I'm trying to, get my bus out there to book more events, so I am open to booking. I started later on in the season, so I missed a lot of grad parties and stuff like that. So I am open this year. Also too, I do want to know like what type of ice cream you guys are looking for me to carry or what's, in popular demand. Like I am open to that this year. I didn't really get to ask that last year because it was kind of like a push and go. But like this year, I kind of, I'm doing another launch like I did last year. And at that time, like I want to open it up to the community a little bit because I'm looking to be long term. So I want this to be like a thing like, okay, well, let's tell Munchies what you want to see. So that's more or less my idea going forward with this year. What do you guys want in the community?
I'll message you after the show and everything, but we got a couple things coming up in the summer. Let's do something again and get you guys out. We got a couple of youth camps and different stuff going on, so we can make it happen.
Yeah.
So let's get your social medias, or how do you get a hold of the ice cream truck? Or
so
you, if you want
I
to?
am on Instagram right now. It is Munchies Ice Cream Bus on Instagram. You can always find me on social media if you want to direct message me. Demoree Hampton is just on Facebook. I'm currently working on my Munchies page. So that's my two things right now. Like I said, I got to get into social media. I'm not really a social media person. So I'm still trying to get into social media.
That's the hardest part.
It is. And I don't have a team for that at the second. So it's like me doing it all.
I
So
feel that.
so yeah, if you want to reach out to me, usually it's like phone a friend. Someone might know me, they can reach out to me. That's a lot of word of mouth is always great. So like I said, we're open to events. And we'll be in a neighborhood near you.
All right.
Coach, take her out.
Oh, all right, guys. We're back next week. I will see you guys on Sunday as well for an episode of Kicking It with Coach K. And then, we're back at 6 p.m. next week live. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Make sure you go follow BrainJerk Entertainment and Kennedy Health and Wellness. Lots of stuff going on. These guys, I just want to close it on this. These guys are working on the BrainJerk experience where we're going to have a ton of different events going on. I'll be in there helping these guys out. They got
Beautiful paint job.
Big plans. And I'm telling you guys, if you have not seen it yet, because I know some of our community saw it already just from Presley's post, but
she made a post?
She put a little hint up, not a full post, but a little hint. You can see it in the back. So. But when you see it, y'all are gonna be shocked. It's incredible. So make sure you guys stay tuned on their social media for updates. Love y'all. See you guys next week.
Later. Thank you, Squirrel.